Hello, Janksters, and welcome to another edition of the MagicJank podcast, the show where members of Team MagicJank get together and we talk about magical gatherings. And today, this is our first episode of 2026, and I thought it'd be fun to look at the plan ahead, see what's going on in 2026, and maybe throw out some predictions for what we're expecting in the new year. My name's Graham. I go by HamHocks42 on the internet, and I'm joined by the one and only Astralsflame. Astros, what up, my dude?
What up, what up? Doing good. It's 2026. We're playing Teamer another year, and to no surprise, Frostcliff Siege is actually a good card. The thing of one of many that I said in 2025 was good. People are finally listening because it's gone up over double in price in the last week.
Took a minute, but yeah, people are finally on board. Realizing, I think Quantum Riddler is the one that people see. It's like, wait, I was already playing this just to draw cards, and now I can like dome my opponent for 5. In the process. Like, yeah, you can. It's pretty good. So yeah. You love to see it. And you're completely correct. Frostcliff Siege kind of rules. I'm glad people are recognizing. And this is another situation where I wish I bought a bunch of them when I knew they were great and nobody else did. But alas, here we are.
It's like Breach the Multiverse. Back when that was a 50-cent card, affordable. Like those were the days.
I bought one, and I was like, I got my one copy of Breach. This is going to be fine. And then, I think there was the first Pro Tour after March of the Machine came out, and there was a Rakdos Reanimator deck that was running like 3 copies of Breach the Multiverse or whatever. And the price immediately jumped to like $6, and it leveled off a little bit from that, but it never went all the way back down. And it was one of those where I knew it. I knew it was great. Why didn't I buy up a bunch of those?
It's just, yeah.
Anyway. So now that I've established the fact that I'm good enough at making predictions so that I can make good calls occasionally, but not enough that I actually invest in them and profit from them, which, is a thing that we do. So 2026, we've got a lot of new sets coming out, and by a lot of new sets, I mean 7 standard legal sets.
Yeah, that's insane.
That is insane,
that's insane.
Right? It's kind of cracked. Let's not bury the lead on this. Let's not pretend that it's anything other than what it is. 7 sets in a year is not uncommon. Wizards has been doing 7 sets per year for the last couple of years, actually, if you really stop and look at it. But 1 to 3 of those sets have been like supplemental products that aren't, between Modern Horizons or the remasters, like your Innistrad remastered, Dominaria remastered, Ravnica remastered, like those kinds of reprint sets, master sets, Horizon sets, supplemental stuff entering the game and going into older formats and hitting Commander. That's old hat. That's not uncommon. But this is the first time that we're seeing. Well, I mean, we saw 6 standard sets last year, and I don't know about you, but I'm already, I'm tired, boss. It's tough to keep up with these, and this next year it's going to be even faster. So here we are. Hooray!
Yeah, here we are.
Yeah.
I will say, I feel you. It is tiring because it's like, the old adverb. Oh, new secret lair alert from our favorite professor. We always hear.
Yep.
Right. New set alert. We've had spoilers before they've even gone in. But at the same time, to be honest, I'm not gonna lie. I might get some slack about this and some weird eyes. I'm actually excited about the 7 sets.
Ooh.
So I know it feels weird, right? Because when we think, all right, product fatigue, when we think about everything else and the overfluctuation of cards, I had a moment the last few days when I was thinking about it, I was like, there are going to be 7 sets finally legal in a standard, and it's not just going to be limited to other formats that people can't play or aren't invested in or aren't interested in. These are going to be something legal in every format of Magic the Gathering that every player is going to be able to have access to. It's not some premium product that's going to be high priced with reprints. It's not something that's limited to strictly the Commander environment that does a weird offshoot into Legacy because of its impact. I'm looking at you, Lord of the Rings. And it's not also just something weird off like a Jumpstart impact, like Qatar has been heading in Legacy as well, or a Modern introduced or Pioneer set in. These are everything legal for Standard that creates a draft environment for cards that could potentially hit the Standard event, potentially have an impact for a Pioneer, for sure something's going to get played in Commander. Definitely something at some point will hit Modern as a cool, fun thing, and might something hit for Legacy. And if anything, and my rant continues a little bit. There are 6 weeks roughly between each set. That gives us time to explore with like some really cool deck ideas for those 6 weeks. And then be realized, hey, there's another new set coming out, and start thinking of, well, how can I use this other new set I've got with the new cards coming in? How can I play my Bitter Blossom Fairies with Raphael from TMNT that's coming out 6 weeks later, you know? How can I learn with all my cards from Avatar in the Strixhaven mechanic and maybe have Donatello teach them something new? Right? When I started thinking about it, I actually got excited. It's like the 6 weeks apart are like it's 6 weeks of invention. It's 6 weeks of finding. Every 6 weeks, something new, fresh is introduced, which keeps me in. Do I have to buy it every 6 weeks? No. If I don't want to buy a set this month or I skip for it, then you know what? I get to play with the same cards from Lorwyn for 12 weeks until I wait for Strixhaven then if I skip a set. And that's 3 months of enjoyment with the cards.
I mean, I suppose I feel like I'm glad that you're optimistic. I do not share this sentiment. I really don't, if I'm completely honest. I feel like 6 weeks is far too short. I mean, if people are trying to draft and grind on Arena to fill out their collection and complete sets, they're going to get halfway through one by the time the next set drops, in most cases. I mean, free-to-play players, good luck keeping up with this right now. And I think that's a shame. I think it also... I also think it's going to be unlikely that we explore really everything that one set has to offer before the discourse is going to shift to something new. I know as a creator, you know, I don't feel like I have the option to skip out on any of these. And it's going to be tough to keep up. And to be honest, one of the things that is, I know for me, like this past year, I already completely burnt out on Standard. And the thing was, I've been trying to get back into it and been trying to like re-energize and revitalize kind of my love for that format. And the truth is, it's just gone. It's dead, you know? And that is what it is. Standard used to be my favorite way to play, and it just isn't anymore because of what the format has become. And looking at a 7-set Standard, it's only going to get worse. There's no possible future where the creative, interesting, dynamic gameplay that Standard once offered is going to come back. It's just a high power format now. We don't have low power Magic anymore, and it just is what it is. And and adding more stuff onto that is only going to make it worse, I think. And it's I'm realizing that in the past I have articulated my issue with the format being stale or like not changing because of the rotation, and I've recently come to realize that's not it at all. My grief with Standard has been the power level and the power creep as a result of having so much in the format to contend with. And I feel like my gameplay decisions in Standard aren't actual gameplay decisions. I don't feel like the games are being decided in the game. I feel like the games are being decided in the matchup and the mulligan, which is how high power Magic feels, you know? And that's fine. But like, I know that I've personally played more dynamic and more interesting games of Uno than some Standard matches I've been in recently. And that just sucks. And I see this gigantic glut of products getting dumped into the format is only going to make that worse. That said, as a Magic enthusiast, as a lover of this game, I have recently started to experiment with Brawl with like an actual open mind, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm having quite a bit of fun with it, far more than I expected. And part of the reason that I've really accepted that was going to be a thing was this past week I did a 24-hour stream over the New Year, which was very fun. If you want to see what it looks like as a grown man's brain turns to stale oatmeal live on camera, I would recommend looking the last couple hours of that stream. But as I was looking to fill time and trying to play Magic in a way that I wasn't going to hate, honestly, because I like the idea of tilting out for hours at the end of while being tired, like I was not going to do that. I started playing Brawl with a Nethroi Apex of Death deck that I've had for a long time.
Nethroi.
It's Reanimator, it's Mutate, it's self-mill nonsense, and it's like a 5-for-1. You know, like how frustrating it is how board wipes reset everything, and you just have to, you know, your opponent can get an easy like 5-for-1 and really set you back. Nethroi does the exact opposite, where if you can actually fire Nethroi out of the command zone, and you can reanimate like 4 or 5 things pretty consistently, and like instant board just add one thing. And so you end up with this anti-board wipe scenario where you're having these good like 1-for-1 interaction trades with the opponent, then all of a sudden, boom, mad value. What you got? Like, I'm gonna just 5-for-1 myself here real quick. Now what? And it was really fun, and the gameplay was great. We got matched up against a lot of interesting commanders, including apparently somebody in the chat commented that that my particular build of Nethroi was actually matching very high. Like, we were going up against Atraxa, we were going up against Kinnan, we went up against Tamio a time or two. Like, we were going up against some of these big decks. Yeah. Well, and the Atraxa matchups, I was beating the crap out of Atraxa. It felt so good. And we got matched up against Kinnan, I want to say once or twice, and like smoked those matches too. It was working well. And I feel like it's not that the deck itself was like overly busted. I'm not saying that Nethroi is going to like set the Brawl world on fire by any means. I do think it's underrated, for the record, but at the end of the day, I felt like my skill as a player was winning me more games than just random chance. I felt like I was actually getting to play a game of Magic. The sequencing mattered. The games often went to turn 8 or 9. We oftentimes had interesting back and forths, and I could look back at certain sequencing and certain choices that I made that resulted in the outcome. Whether it was win or lose, I recognized like I had agency here, and it felt like I was actually playing Magic, which is something that like is a feeling. I've been missing that. Now, is that a fair, read on current standard? Probably not. But it felt lower powered. It felt like it had room to breathe. It felt like we were trying to generate value back and forth. It was really fun and really interesting. And I've since tinkered with a couple of other builds, a lot of interesting card designs that are out there. Like the other one was Firelord Zuko. I tried building a.
Oh, that's a cool one. It's a
fun
really
card,
cool one.
right? I was trying to build Firelord Zuko in standard, and you can imagine how well that went. It was awful, and but I took it out in Brawl and built like a Blink deck with it with like Flicker Wisps and Sun Titans and stuff,
Nice.
and it actually played pretty well. It was fun, and so that's it. I feel like that is a format that gives the kind of gameplay experience that I am personally looking for. So I know moving forward, I'm going to be tinkering a lot more with Brawl or Standard Brawl even over just Standard. It's going to be a bit of a focus. I'll still tinker with Standard. I'm not giving up on the format completely. But at the same time, even, it's encouraging to know that even if the Standard format is not giving you the kind of gameplay you want, it doesn't mean that Magic is going to suffer from, it doesn't mean you can't continue to enjoy Magic. And that's kind of one of my big takeaways, and actually a lovely positive note to end 2025 on. And so I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, and I am very much looking forward to these upcoming sets. I think there are going to be a ton of interesting cards in them. Yeah, so first up in January, so like just later this month, we have Lorwyn Eclipsed. After that, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in March. We have Secrets of Strixhaven in April, which I'm going to be totally not normal about, for the record. That one's going to be fun. We also have Marvel Superheroes in June, The Hobbit in August, which again, I'm going to be totally normal about that. It's going to be totally fine, you guys. Don't worry about it. October is Reality Fracture, which is an in-universe set, and we know almost nothing about it yet. Like, pretty much nothing. And then in November, we have Star Trek. Because, sure, yep. Star Trek's coming to Magic. Why not? Yeah. So, given that lineup, I'm curious, what are you most excited for as far as the new products coming out?
So I'm going to separate it by in-universe and out of universe, like universe.
Fair enough.
Because there are two camps to enjoy. I'm very excited, Lorwyn and Strixhaven. I don't know anything. Like, there's nothing about Reality Fracture. I couldn't even tell you. I'm excited there's a set. I want to know more. I wish they would tell me. Apparently, there's some secret. I'm wondering if loot is involved in some way. I don't know.
I'll be shocked if he's not. Yeah.
He better be. Because like there's some tie-in from all these stories that they still haven't gone in and done yet. But anyways, we'll find out. I'm excited. I think there might even be a tie-in to Edge of Eternities with it. Because like possibly. I don't know. It just, that's what it feels like.
I want to throw out some predictions about Reality Fracture, but we can put a pin in that. Like I definitely want to, because
Come back
that's
to it.
ripe speculation. So yeah, we can put a pin in that. But yeah. All right.
Yeah, so in universe, Lorwyn I think is going to be my favorite by far. It was the first standard set that it's not my first Magic set. My first Magic set was Scourge, but Lorwyn is the
Nice.
first time I started playing standard as a
Mm,
whole. I was an Elementals player. I used to cheat in Nova Chaser, which was a 10-2 trample elemental.
what?
Or the Supreme Exemplar, which was a 10-10 elemental with flying. You would cheat those in on turn 4 with an Incandescent Soul Stoke. So Incandescent Soul Stoke was a 3-mana 2-2. You could tap a red and tap it, put an elemental from your hand into play against haste. At the end of the turn, you sacrifice it. And with Nova Chaser and Supreme Exemplar, they had the champion mechanic. So you champion something. When it comes into play, you sacrifice it unless you remove another elemental you control from the game. The champion was kindred or typo based, so you'd have to remove whatever typo your creature was. So for the case of Nova Chaser, I would champion a Flamekin Harbinger, because you sack the Chaser at the end of turn. Flamekin Harbinger returns after the champion creature leaves. When Harbinger comes back in, it lets you go search your library and put any elemental you want on the top card of your deck. So I could go grab another Nova Chaser or another Supreme Exemplar and use the Incandescent Soul Stoke on the next turn, deck them in for 10 again.
That's amazing.
And it was just fun.
That sounds fantastic. I love this.
It was so much fun. My worst matchup was Tree Folk, because freaking Dorn the Siege Tower turned my 10-2 elemental into a wimpy little 2-2 with trample, and I'm like,
that's so
what the heck am I supposed to do with this?
Oh, that's incredible. See, that sounds so perfect. I love it.
It was great. So I'm very excited for Lorwyn. Universes Beyond, probably The Hobbit, I think, of most of all. I've never been like a huge Star Trek fan. No, I don't. It's not that I don't like the franchise. I just never got into it. The Hobbit's just been something that always sinks. TMNT, I think, is cool. It's going to be a smaller set. I don't know much about the cards. They'll be interesting. Marvel Superheroes, cool. We have a Marvel set.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
And Through the Omen Pass 2, Electric Boogaloo, which, yay.
Yeah.
I'm actually...
More Kavero.
I don't hate that.
I'll be honest. I don't either. I like the in-universe take on the Marvel stuff. I kind of wish we had the ability to buy some of the Through the Omen Pass versions in paper.
Same. Yeah.
I'll be honest.
No,
if they did art.
If they did some kind of special printing or like secret layer thing where some of those were available in paper, at the very least, Mystery Booster, they gotta bring there's no reason they couldn't, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think that'd be great.
No reason at all.
Yeah, no, honestly, the number of those Through the Omen Path versions I actually really enjoy, and I'm very intrigued. So yeah, like Kavero, like what's Kavero's deal? I kind of want to know more about Kavero. Like, do I care about Superior Spider-Man? Meh, not really. Like, but yeah.
But Kavero, anyway. I want to know what drives Kavero. What is Kavero's essence of being?
Right.
Know?
Well, what adds it in? We all need Fleam in our life. Like Fleam needs to be Fleam deserves to be on a physical card. Actually, I do have I do have a Norman Osborn Commander deck, and I did proxy Fleam for the backside, and I don't care. I'm doing it. It's Fleam. Yeah. So I do play Fleam in Commander unapologetically. Unfortunately, it's actually a foil copy, and I don't have a foil printer, so so the front face is foil and the back face isn't. It looks very, very odd, but whatever. It's fine. But yeah. So so Lorwyn and The Hobbit are the two that you're looking forward to. When it comes to UB, I'm right there with you. I think The Hobbit's going to be a slam dunk. Lord of the Rings was an absolute flavor success, like top to bottom. It sold like absolute gangbusters. There was the one-of-one ring situation. It'll be interesting if they try to do something like that again. I can't imagine they would. I'm expecting.
I don't foresee them.
Yeah, I can't imagine they try to do something like that again. Even though if they were ever going to, here we are. But even that, it would have to be the same one. Like it'd have to be the ring again, and they can't do that. They can't you can't have a second one of one that doesn't that completely kind of cuts
It
the.
doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Like that's.
And well, like and like also lore wise in The Hobbit, they didn't know that ring
Mm-mm.
was like, the ring.
Exactly. Well, and that's kind of my expectation with The Hobbit is there are going to be some illusions. Like maybe there will be a reprint of like Slip on the Ring from, like the Lord of the Rings set.
Yes, I think there could.
So like that's one of those where although that one I think has the ring tempt you mechanic, and I can't imagine they'll bring that back because you're like what you're saying
No,
is
I don't think they'll bring back Tempt.
yeah, I can't, so maybe not. But yeah, like I think the ring tempts you shouldn't be in that because the ring temptation is just not part of that story. It's just not.
Yeah, it's not.
That said, though, if there's ever a time to reprint some of the Lord of the Rings cards, I don't know that they would reprint, Sting, for example, or something like that.
They could.
They could, right? Like they could get away with it, and it would just make sense. So,
Yeah, like I could even see them potentially reprinting something like Open the Armory, right? Because there's the scene in the movie and from the books when they find all the elfin blades in the mines of the goblin. That's
right.
like Open the Armory. So, like I think there's some chances we see some in-universe reprints in a Universes Beyond or something like Sting coming back.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'd be fun. Yeah, so I think The Hobbit, we have every reason to believe that they're going to handle that property with care and get it right. They've done it before. I think it's safe to say they're going to do that again, and I think that's great. And this time it's going to be going into standard, which honestly, I kind of wish that the Lord of the Rings set had gone into standard in its day. Now I understand that the One Ring and Orcish Bowmasters were cracked in half and too good. They were. No question. 100%, no argument there. Those cards push to the moon. But could you imagine if we were playing in a standard where like Gandalf the White was legal? Or like Mary was legal, or the food package that that some of those other cards could do. Now, even I guess Samwise also had some, and Rosie Cotton had some interesting challenges. Like so maybe the overall power level would have been slightly too high with that set, but I think the draft environment and I think 98% of that set was fine, as far as power level was concerned. And so they could, if they can capture that flavor and that feel in The Hobbit, I think we're gonna have a winner on our hands. So I'm excited for that one as well.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like if they get the power level right, they approach it like they did Final Fantasy. Because to me, that was like prime power level. That's where we want to be. Not too strong, not too weak, just impactful. Great success. We need that kind of power with the flavor that they did for Lord of the Rings.
Although Final Fantasy was an interesting one because as far as the impact on standard is concerned, I mean, outside of VV, is there really anything from Final Fantasy that's seeing significant play?
There's a few things here and there. Nothing like significant in the meta, but you do see like some Fenrir come up. You do see Yuna still pop up. Terra still sees a couple decks.
Yeah, fair enough.
So
and
like,
I know
you still see some of the cards. Sath's Chocobo is in the landfall deck.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Sath's Chocobo and Tifa, I suppose. The whole landfall strategy is centered around those. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. No, so I guess you're right. It's present without being overpowered now that VV's banned. Yeah. Good stuff.
Yes, now that VV's banned. Yeah, everything but VV.
That's always with that asterisk. Like, oh, but there was that guy. So yeah. Nice. Very good. Yeah. So no, I'm with you. As far as Universes Beyond go, now I think Star Trek is going to be interesting, and there is going to be a certain core group of the Magic community that really like lights up to that one. And I think that's great. Honestly, I think Star Trek is going to get received very similar to Doctor Who, where there are going to be a lot of people, or there are going to be a number of people who are outspokenly in support of it, who absolutely love it. But at the end of the day, I think the actual like proportion of existing players who are stoked about it is going to be lower than WotC wants to believe. That's kind of my expectation there. And it's funny, like I grew up watching Star Trek. I watched a ton of Star Trek Voyager and Deep Space Nine when I was little, and I do have a soft spot for that franchise, and I do enjoy it very much. But at the same time, like that soft spot and that nostalgia allowed me to watch like Lower Decks with a lot of like, and like every little nuance, every little joke really lit me up. But I'm not going to go out and buy cards because they'll have those moments on them, you know? Like, do I really want to get my hands and like, do I really want to build a commander deck around like Chakotay? Like not really. Although that dude would absolutely be Mardu, and I find that interesting. So anyway,
Would absolutely, yeah.
or
I mean,
yeah, anyway,
if anything,
or Orzhov maybe. I
the
don't know.
one thing we need, maybe Orzhov, but like from the Star Trek, the
Sorry.
one card we absolutely need from Star Trek though has to be the last con. No question, has to be. If that card doesn't
Okay.
exist, then I can't count the Star Trek set as a pass.
Fair enough. You know, well, and it'll be interesting to see which generations of Star Trek are they going to try to do it like Final
Yes.
Fantasy, where they try to capture the entire thing in one set, which they did it with. I mean, the sheer breadth of content that got represented in the Final Fantasy set was wild. And they hit it
hugely.
like at the end of the day, they got all 16 games into a single Magic set, which is insane. But they pulled it off. And you know, with Star Trek, like, are they going to be able to get like every generation of Star Trek represented? I mean, so far with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it looks from the previews that we've seen, some of them are clearly like inspired from the original comics. Some are clearly inspired from like the movie, you know, depictions. Like they've kind of gone all over the place with those. So, or they've acknowledged, you know, all the different mediums. So, yeah, maybe Star Trek will be like that. I'm very curious to see. So that one, it's funny. I'm not excited for it, but I'm very curious about it. Like I'm not offended by it for what that's worth. I'm really curious to see how that works, because that one could be surprisingly fun. I think that one has a chance to really, I think, surprise folks. Yeah,
I agree. To me, it's like, you know, we speculate Edge of Eternities was kind of like they're testing the waters of how a spaceship set would be.
Yeah.
And Edge of Eternities, I think, has become like a beloved set. People loved it. So Star Trek might just be that kind of thing. You know, maybe it's not like, again, not crazy powerful, but not crazy weak. There's a few impactful cards, but it's a set that is well received and just enjoyed because it just captures a really cool essence of Magic that we haven't yet seen or explored very much.
Right. So I'm curious. The one like iconic thing that I'm thinking of, there's got to be a Beam Me Up Scotty card. And I don't know what that maybe that's like a blink effect. Maybe that's an ephemerate style effect.
Well, that'd be
you
cool.
know, like disappear and then come back at the end step. Like that could be also, I feel like there will be a card. There will be a card, and it's going to fit really awkwardly. But here's a prediction for that. There's going to be a card called Set Phasers to Stun. Or just Set to Stun. Or something like that. I don't even know what it does.
Stun counters on something.
Yeah, well, maybe. Like, does it put stun counters on? Like, does it tap stuff down and put stun counters on it? Or does it just, like, reduce power without reducing toughness? Like, you know, is it one of those crappy, like, -5, -0 combat tricks? I don't know.
Or the, you know, the Ever Titular 2 or 3 mana enchant that taps the creature. It gets -5, -0, and doesn't untap at the beginning of upkeep.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. One of those kind of like, yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, it's something like that.
We could be Magic card designers.
I know, check it out, right? We've known we can come up with a few things. I
just come up with 2 cards right here. Hire us already.
I know, right? Come on, let's do this. So yeah. So the other, it's funny too. So the TMNT and Marvel superheroes. So when it comes to Marvel superheroes, we talked about the Through the Omen Path version, and that's neat. At this point, I feel like with Spider-Man, like and given the handful of previews we've seen already, I kind of feel like I know what we're getting with that. And I don't know about you, man, but I am not really particularly intrigued at that kind of at all. Is that just me?
Yeah. No, I'm kind of the same. Like, for me, on the Marvel superheroes, the mechanics look cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the extent. Marvel, to me, is a great IP. I enjoy it. It's really fun and exciting to watch the movies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But there's already other aspects in different games that handle the mechanics of those characters in different ways.
Yeah.
In other games, it's the capturing of those type of mechanics on cards for Magic. I don't fit so well, and that's.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to do. Like capturing the essence of something like, you know, cards from The Hobbit. I think like that, you know, that fits in for Magic. But like Yeah, the coming of Galactus. This is a good example. Like, okay,
Yeah, it's a
I mean,
Golgari
what?
5-drop saga that,
Yeah,
ends
like
with a big, like, Merit Lage style, like, alien, which, okay, you've got this impending enemy showing up, but it's 4 chapters deep on a 5-mana saga, like, eh. And I don't know, trying to take a villain that is so powerful it can destroy literal planets with ease and trying to put that into Magic game terms, like, why is that a 16/16? Like, that doesn't seem big
yeah. What
enough.
does the 1616 mean?
Yeah, is there
Yeah,
I think isn't it like Earth 616 is like the official version, or I don't know. It's uh, I understand there's some
yeah.
numerical significance within Marvel continuity. That's also the other thing. Here's one of the ultimate issues with Universes Beyond that has been cited since day one. I think it's been overblown, but it is real. At the end of the day, if you aren't invested in the IP, how excited are you going to be for the Magic set? And I'm personally not invested with Marvel really beyond having seen maybe 1/4 of the movies that have come out at this point. Like,
About the same.
so
Yeah,
so at the end of the day, and but to your point though, some of the designs, like Coming of Galactus, I love Binding the Old Gods, and this is almost like that. So okay,
yeah.
neat, I
Pretty
guess.
close.
It's fairly close. But if I'm gonna do Binding the Old, well, I'm just gonna continue to play Binding the Old Gods in all of the decks that can support it, because why not? But we also have like Awaken the Honored Dead and
Yeah.
other versions of that style effect. So I'm glad this is a template that they're using more often. The Golgari saga that kills something on entering is great. I love that. But at the end of the day, I'm not gonna play this one. I think this is the least impactful version of it, and I'm the like, I don't know. I'm the Magic player target audience for this kind of effect. But at the same time, there's some other like cards like Baron Helmet Zemo. I barely know.
Yeah,
I know
Baron
that.
Helmet is.
Yeah, like I don't really know Baron Zemo much at all. Aside from the fact, apparently he was the bad guy in was it Civil War in the movies? Yeah, like
Yeah.
that mopey guy who was who got anyway. Um,
Some, yeah, something
he
like
was
that.
he was one of those guys. He was one of the villains. But like I don't really know really anything about the character, but the effect looks interesting, and it's like bringing Boast back of all things. Like what? Okay, interesting. So I don't
Yeah.
know if this is true to the original character, but at the same time, when I was first looking at these cards when they were spoiled, and I was chatting with them, I was walking through them on stream one day. This was one where I was ready to poo poo it. It's like, oh, it's the mono black does mono black things that rewards you for playing mono black. Put it in the deck with Bolus the Citadel. Okay, I got it. And the more like I read through it, so whenever you cast a black spell from your hand, Baron Zemo connives, and then Boast, so you can access this when he's attacking. Exile any number of black cards from your graveyard with 15 or more black mana symbols among their costs. Copy those exiled cards, and you may cast up to 3 of the copies without paying their mana costs. Like, that is... The potential power on this is really bonkers, but the setup cost is so huge, so it's going to be so difficult to try to actually get this thing to fire. Like this reads to me as an I dare you build around, and dang it, I'm gonna take this bait so hard. And I kind of can't wait, and so if this is the kind of design that we're seeing as a more casual player playing in Commander and in Brawl, this kind of stuff is awesome. And so okay, if this is what we have in store from the set, all right, I'm listening. I'm very excited for this. It's unplayable in Standard, make no mistake. But
Yeah, no, it's definitely not going to be playable in Standard. But like from the standpoint of like brawling, from potentially Commander, I think it's great for that. Like there's that 5-minute enchant from this same set.
Mhm.
I forget the name of it, but it's green, and your next red or green creature you cast is cast for free. I did a tweet about it some time ago because I was like, with the Badger Mole Cub, we can get this out on turn 3 and just cheat and progeny this on turn 3.
World War Hulk.
That's the one. Yeah, yeah.
Saga for 5, Chapter 1. The next red or green creature spell you cast this turn can be cast without paying its mana cost. And you are paying for it. So yeah, drop this turn 5. Boom. Progenitus live. And if that sounds insane to you, yeah, a little bit. But also, I would point out Smuggler's Surprise. Because Smuggler's Surprise at instant speed gets you 2 creatures without the color restriction for only 1 mana more. So, like, this feels perfectly reasonable. A little bonkers, but perfectly reasonable. And yes, turn 5 Progenitus. Let's freaking go.
It's not even turn 5, turn 3. Because, like, you go turn 1 Mana Wealth, you turn 2 Badger Mole, you turn 3 World War Hulk, and then you cheat in the Progenitus. Now, the other chapters don't do anything to Progenitus because protection from everything, but it's still a turn 3 Progenitus.
But you know what? Chapter 2 put 3 1/1 counters on target creature you control. That makes that Badger Mole Cub relevant in combat now. And Chapter 3, creature you control. Tell it a turn, you double its power and toughness and it gains trample. Bruh. This is... Yeah. Well, the other thing you can do is use this alongside Garnet and just keep removing that first counter so you can just keep dropping free gigantic things each turn.
That's true. That is true.
That could be fun. That gives you another excuse to play Galta as well. Like, let's get dumb, everybody. Yeah, so...
Well, we're just going to play big, dumb stuff. This 2026 is the year of big, dumb stuff in Magic. And
I'm here for it.
And this kind of wraps into that earlier thing I said, right? Like, 7 sets, a lot of cards. Yeah, I do agree. There is going to be oversaturation. There is going to feel like things. But all those cards, there are going to be so many cool cards to play with. Like, my brewing mind can't help but be excited that I'm going to get to build, like, every 6 weeks. I get something fresh to keep the pot going and brewing and thinking.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be able to do, like, half my time on some new brews, another half the time on meta stuff, so I still hit Mythic, and then, like, I just have fun. I can do dumb stuff in Mythic with different card combos. I can have, I don't know, I'll cheat in Firelord Zuko with the World War Hulk, and we'll see what'll happen. Maybe it doesn't sound like that's a good idea, but, it's just crazy things we can do. I can't help but be excited.
What, Ozai, the Phoenix Lord, coming off of World War Hulk?
There you
Ozai's red. Boom. We got there. Yep.
There we go. Cheat and Ozai. There. Done. Trample, fire, running for haze. Perfect.
Let's go.
Comes a 10 on the next turn, and then he gets double strike on the third. Like, perfect. Done.
And there we go. And you're in Jund. So what more do you need right there? Perfect.
And Lorwyn brings us the shock lands that we need for Jund. There, we've solved the meta. We've done it again, man.
It's about time. All right.
Time.
Oh. All right. And so as far as the in-universe stuff, I think Lorwyn Eclipse is probably going to be. It is a shame that the Lorwyn Eclipse build-up is getting truncated so dramatically. Like the release window is going to be 3 days, and then it's just going to be and here's everything, and I guess we're in. And I feel like they're kind of shortchanging the hype on that set a bit, and I think it's going to underperform in the market as a direct result, despite being dope. That's my expectations. I think Lorwyn Eclipse is going to... I think we will look back on 2026 and realize that Lorwyn Eclipse was actually a really dope set. It's going to be kind of the opposite of Aether Drift. Where I personally think Aether Drift is generally underrated. I think a lot of people poo-poo that set. But people look back on it and it's that was kind of a weird... just meh. It was pretty meh to begin with. And most people still see it that way. Whereas, sets like Edge, Edge of Eternities, people were kind of surprised by that one and remember it more fondly than they expected, which is great. With Lorwyn, I think we're going to look back and realize, wait, no, that was actually awesome. Why didn't we, appreciate that more in the moment? And I think it's going to be because we're rushing through the release so fast. And by the time it comes out, TMNT is right around the corner. And so it's going to get overshadowed pretty quickly, I think, while we're still getting used to that cadence. To that end, I'm also just going to point this out. Even when the full hype for Mutant Ninja Turtles is in full swing, I can promise you guys on my streams and in my shorts and probably on this podcast, there's a good chance I'm still going to be talking about Lorwyn well after everyone else has moved on to TMNT. That's my expectation.
As you should.
And that's another thing, actually. I guess one prediction or one kind of call out that I'm going to make is, as a content creator, I think it's important that we focus on the elements of the game that we can speak to that bring us joy. And I know that's something that's going to be really important. I like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think they're fun. I will talk about them. I will play with them. But at the end of the day, if I'm loving Lorwyn and I'm still loving all the different cards from Lorwyn and I don't feel like I've satisfied, my desire to explore it, by the time Ninja Turtles previews are coming out and everybody's talking about it, I'm still going to be playing Lorwyn. And I'm not sorry. And I think that's valuable.
No.
So Yeah,
It is
everybody.
absolutely valuable. I'll be the same.
Yeah,
Like if the Team MagicJank cards aren't going to make any impact, like I'm still going to enjoy playing the Lorwyn cards.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's so many cards. Like the amount we don't have to subject ourselves to release schedule. And again, this kind of comes down to like if a set's not for you, don't play the set. Yes, that impacts standard because there could be impactful cards, but it doesn't mean you have to go out and buy the entire set. As content creators, going back to your point earlier, I do agree. We're kind of like in a position we kind of have to stay up to date. But at the same time, if I don't like a set, I won't really invest in it. And I like at least the freedom of all the sets being available to all the standard players and letting people pick and choose.
Yeah.
And having more ability for that, for what they want to have in a set.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's pros and cons to it. It's definitely pros and cons to it.
Yeah, no question. But yeah. So earlier, I guess the other in-universe the other in-universe set this year, before we really dive into Reality Fracture, before we roll our sleeves up on that one.
Yeah.
Secrets of Strixhaven, coming out in April. We don't know that much about it yet, but we are returning to Arcavios. I'm curious, do you have any like strong feelings about that? Or do you have any predictions as it relates to the Secrets of Strixhaven?
Yes. Dragons.
Okay. Elaborate. Or is that all? That's
sure. Elder dragons.
There were elder dragons in the last set. Now that said, okay, I'm curious about the various elder dragons, and I know that you know exactly which one I'm going to pull up on the screen here. My beloved Velomachus Lorehold.
Is it Beladros? Oh, it's Velomachus.
Oh, no, most people love Beladros, and to be fair, Beladros is my favorite color combo. But God, Velomachus is so cool. Anyway,
Velo was cool.
I like this guy. But regardless, the Elder Dragons are all dope as hell. They are. They were the founders of the different colleges on Strixhaven, and they're all big and powerful and fun in their own way. And all of them, I think, are pretty playable in their respective archetypes. So,
yeah, definitely
Commander viable, if nothing else, right? Like, definitely fun in Commander, I should say, because everything's Commander viable. But yeah. Anyway, I'll be surprised if these Elder Dragons are present in the Secret of Strixhaven, because in the Lorwyn Eclipse storyline, it's a full-on, like I guess, somewhat minor spoilers for the Lorwyn story if you haven't read or listened to them yet. Spoilers for Chapter 1 of the Lorwyn story, but it actually follows the characters who are students at Strixhaven who stumble into a portal into Lorwyn. So it's a full-on isekai, which I didn't expect that. But I also love the fact that, like, in a normal isekai story, it's a normal person who you can relate to, like a normal human being who gets transported into a fantastical world of like weird stuff. And in this case, the characters who get like isekai'd are like a vampire, a goblin, a gorgon, a deaf owlin. Like, it's like all these very weird non-human characters, and there are normal like students who have to experience this crazy fantasy world of Lorwyn. Is real, and that also really highlighted just how weird Lorwyn is. Like, you know, a group of students who are there isn't a human there isn't a human in the mix, and they're literally studying magic. Like, are surrounded by stuff in Lorwyn, and they're like, what the heck is this? This is wild. It's really fun. And they really showcased that was a fun device to really just showcase how wild and weird Lorwyn was. But it was cool. Anyway, there is a line in that story about how one of the students knew of the founder dragons but had never one, and like they'd been at Strixhaven for I think a year or two at that point. Like, I don't recall if the exact time frame was established, but they were like a veteran student at Strixhaven, and they had not seen one of the founder dragons. I didn't know whether I guess I assumed that they were still around, still bopping around Strixhaven, but that would imply that they're not, which maybe that's relevant to the story or not. I mean, we're talking about the secrets of Strixhaven. I don't know what that means. So maybe, maybe they need to be found or something.
So when we think back, Maybe they do, because like if we think back to the original Strixhaven story, there was a secret that the cult was trying to get at, right? There
Hmm.
was the I'm not gonna remember the name of it, but the card itself was an Orzhov card that flipped into a you sacrifice creatures, reduce the cost, and when it attacked, it made a 3/6 at Blood Avatar. Yes,
Extus,
Extus, the Oriq, that was it.
Oriq,
The
the
Oriq we're
Oriq
trying to
Overlord. Yeah, and flip into the Blood Avatar.
yeah,
Yeah,
Awaken the Blood Avatar.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because right, the Oriq in the original story were trying to delve into the archives of Strixhaven, and they didn't. But there was
Yeah.
something going on. So maybe
Yeah, so
this
there's
is a
something there.
callback to it.
Hmm. Yeah, we might be
Might
looking at
be
that. Yeah, and at this point, I think the Oriq got vanquished, or like I don't think they're a strong force in the world anymore if they exist at all.
yeah, no, they're
But
not. They're not.
yeah, so but who's to say? Like what else is going to happen? So yeah, exactly. If the archives have, if the what is it? Is it
Bibliotech? No, wait, that's
biblioplex? Yeah, bibliotech. No,
oh yeah,
biblioplex.
yeah.
If the biblioplex,
Bibliotech, sorry.
it's close. It's close. If there's all kinds of like secrets in the archive, like, then who knows what's? I'm
Yeah,
very intrigued. I'm curious. I'm very curious about where that's going. And it's funny. It wasn't that long ago that we were on Strixhaven. Not really. Compared to a lot of the
not
other
really,
planes that
no.
we visited recently. But I'm kind of excited to go back. I think it's gonna be fun. And I think, yeah,
I am
that's
as
gonna be a good
well.
time. Yeah. So no, that's gonna be cool. All right. Kind of the last big order of business that I really want to get into:
Mhm.
Reality Fracture. The set that is the standard legal set coming out in October, which is the last in-universe set this year, and it's called Reality Fracture. We know very little about it, but it is the culmination of kind of the current in-universe arc, whatever that is. And there's
In the past,
yeah, like so. What do we? I mean, do you have any predictions as to which reality is getting fractured and what that means? You have any idea? I've heard
all
some
of them,
theories. All of them, yeah. Well,
like
because
from it's hard to say. Like with okay, well, it's not hard to say. Like speculating story wise from the name, the story that we've gone so far, everything all resolves around the Omen Pass, the
yep,
connection of all the planes. Like I have a feeling, not that the planes are going to break, but I think it's something to do with like the blind eternities and that connection between the planes breaking. That's my
okay.
theory.
Oh, so do you think the planes are going to get like severed from one another, so like the blind eternities will no
I
longer connect them like at all? Like,
That's yeah, that's my thought. That
huh?
and I don't know if it'll go that way, but that's just because like the buildup of the story arcs we've had like Phyrexia invasion,
Hmm.
then the Omen Pass, the exploration, and now loot is like the key for navigating the Omen Pass.
Hmm.
The kind of last thing would be you're right, you've explored the Omen Pass. It's the breaking of the Omen Pass, which
Sure.
I don't know what that'll mean, but
Interesting.
I don't think it'll
Well,
be
and
good.
but then we have the other question. So the Edge of Eternity, the space set. The Edge is a separate space that exists, um, not within the multiverse, but not outside of it either necessarily. The metaphor that is used constantly, because I don't think there's a way to actually make it make sense. So the way that they try to justify it is that the edge is like the outer layer of the multiverse. Like if you think of the multiverse as an orange, it's the rind,
Mhm.
which that doesn't really make any sense if you really stop to like try to break it down. At least I have a tough time wrapping my head around any like actual way that works. But at the end of the day, it is a void in which planets exist that behaves differently from planes that is a part of the multiverse. Okay. Like, I'm willing to accept all that. So if the blind eternities, the void in between the planes that has existed up until now, ceases to exist, and planeswalkers can no longer travel through them using their sparks because that gap is gone. Is the only way to navigate between the planes the edge?
I would think so at that point.
Is that I mean, who knows? At the end of the day, this is all going to behave in whatever way the writers want it to go.
Yeah.
So it's all magical. It's all magical goo gaw. We'll see what they do with it. So I find it very difficult to try to speculate, but like, I can't think why that wouldn't work. You know?
No, I can't either. Like, I would foresee that working, and maybe in some crazy roundabout way, this void between all the planes is what has to break in order for the planes to be in a position for Emrakul to return and be able to have a comprehension between the planes and the Eldrazi that she talked about in the Mindscape when Chase was in there. Because she said the plane was not ready for her. And she purposely went in the moon until a later date.
Excellent. Okay, that also... I am having a weird, like, big magic existential question that is, like, actually starting to bother me now on a very fundamental level. This is going to sound so stupid. This is going to be the weirdest, nerdiest, goofiest tangent I've been on in some time. All right.
Okay.
So the Edge, outer space.
Yep. Yeah.
Exists as a separate entity outside of the multiverse.
Sure does.
So do planes have an outer space? Because if they don't, where is the moon on Innistrad? So they have night skies and outer space in like that exists within the planes, but then we also have the Edge, which is unique from that. Is it?
Huh.
I'm going. Wait, I'm overthinking. Like,
no, I don't think you are overthinking it. So maybe we have to consider it, I think, this way. A plane doesn't necessarily refer to the planet that a place is specifically on.
Mm-hmm.
The plane refers to the whole of what could be in that, because it is the multiverse, and a plane is a universe within the multiverse. Right. We are specifically looking at a primary focus in there. Perhaps because, travel, spacecraft, and such doesn't exist save for the Edge of Eternity's exploration teams.
Sure.
On Tarkir. Maybe there are other worlds in Tarkir we haven't explored.
Okay, so we have we do have multiple dimensions that exist in conjunction with one another. Yeah. And maybe Tarkir and Innistrad are actually part of the same universe, but they're like light years away from each other and no one has any idea.
Exactly.
Like they're in different galaxies, but they are actually in the same dimension.
Could be.
And but they're so far apart, the only way to actually get to one another is by traveling through omen paths or, through
planeswalking.
Yeah, planeswalking. Maybe?
Yeah.
I mean, well, we're also in a scenario where there's one plane that has 10 realms of of the Norse, a Norse inspired universe encased within it. So, yeah, I am overthinking. That's just how this works. But yeah.
It's just, again,
it all works the way it's supposed to. It all works however
WotC wants, right?
However WotC wants it to work.
Planes is an expression. Planes is just an expression of a place that has been visited. We don't know much past that. Because it's called a plane as a plane of existence. Like Earth is a plane of existence, for example, right?
Right.
So we don't know much else because we've only ever, in terms of what the story's been told to us, explored the area that gets planeswalked to.
True. Well,
so there's so much more that we could find out.
You're not wrong. And Strixhaven's actually a great example of that, where we talk about Strixhaven, and Strixhaven is the name for that, for all the sets. It's the name for the D&D modules. It's everything. Strixhaven is the name of one university on the plane of Arcavios. But we don't call it Arcavios. And New Capenna is the same way. Exactly. Where New Capenna is literally a city. And I don't believe we even know the name of the plane that New Capenna is on. Because it's like this blasted wasteland where there's no other civilization aside from this one city. So, yeah. Okay.
Right.
All right.
And think of Kamigawa, right? Kamigawa, we call Kamigawa, of the plane. We know the one big city We know a few of the smaller areas, but what's outside of that? What extends
Yeah.
out? You
Yeah,
know, Mirrodin was a giant sphere with
it sure
different
was.
layers, like an onion.
It sure, yeah.
Like,
Mirrodin went through some stuff. Mirrodin went through some
yeah,
phases. Yeah, poor Mirrodin. I miss Mirrodin.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mirrodin had a rough childhood. You
it
know,
really did.
a
Yeah,
parental issues, abandonment problems.
and it ultimately just had to
There
get
was a
old
bad,
Yellard. Yeah,
yeah,
that's the story of March of the Machine, by the way.
yeah,
Is Mirrodin having to get taken out back behind the woodshed and put down? That's actually tell me I'm wrong. Yep.
yeah.
Anyway.
You're not wrong. It's true.
Yep. Yep. So reality fracture. So your theory is that the blind eternities themselves will somehow buckle and cease to function, and we're gonna find some new way to operate that is gonna look completely different from anything we've seen to date. That's interesting.
Because
Yeah.
if you think about it from that, like, because all the worlds are connected by an omen path, that
Mhm.
wasn't ever done before.
Yeah.
Phyrexia's world tree was what caused that. That can't be good. They're not
No,
supposed to be connected this way.
no, they're not. And like it's been normal for the last 2 years or so, but that's not the way it's ever.
Yeah.
It's a weird, and that's actually one thing that I'm really grateful that they have incorporated them into the story so well. I'm glad that it has continued to be a big deal because March of the Machine and the whole Phyrexian invasion was such this gigantic cataclysmic event that if they tried to just undo it all and sweep it all under the rug and like try to act like it never happened, it would have. I mean, I feel like they have already
But they
minimized
did.
the impact, enough. And like, I'm
Yeah.
glad that the Omen paths persisting has been a force that has actually meaningfully changed the multiverse. I like that. I'm glad for that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good
The
thing.
two things that mattered from what was it? The two things that mattered from March of the Machines. The Omen Path got created and Luca died.
Yes. And nobody's mad about that last part. Yeah. So yeah,
Sorry.
so no, so the one so with Reality Fracture, I can definitely appreciate the idea that's getting that maybe the Omen paths are being destroyed in some way, and we're gonna now that the multiverse has adapted and created like, interplanar relations with one another, like severing those and maybe having people on the like not their plane of origin with no way to go back. Like that could be an interesting way to, and some interesting stories that could be told. The one theory that I've heard about Reality Fracture that I just need to go on record and address, I have no idea if there's any validity to this whatsoever. But I've heard some people speculating that perhaps it's a way to integrate universes beyond and in universe canon, like actually bring in out external IPs and actually have them interact with characters. And I gotta say, if that does become, if that's the angle that they want to go with this, I hate that more than I can express in words. I hate that so much, and there is nothing that they could do that would gut the value of their internal stories more than that. Just full stop.
I agree.
I think that would be absolutely heinous. So if that's what they're doing, complete. I'm praying that's not it. I don't think that would be it, because I mean we're already getting so much Universe Beyond stuff, and the backlash against it over the last couple of years has been so outspoken. I can't believe that Wizards would actually. I mean, they've already doubled down on just the pure release schedule of it all. I can't imagine they would actually give up the integrity of their core narrative as well. I'd be very surprised if they did.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be as well. I don't foresee them doing that. I can understand where the theory would come from, because like
Right.
Reality Fracture, you think about Universe
It's
Beyond
different
integrated.
realities, and yeah.
Yeah, I can see where the speculation. I don't
Mhm.
think that they would, because then that also fundamentally changes the IP and story for other canon events and
Right.
other IPs, which drastically like it messes with those IPs and crosses over in the separation that I don't think other companies would agree with.
Right. Yeah. So my theories for what's actually going on with Reality Fracture, I'm guessing
Yeah, let's get yours.
I'm guessing Jace is behind it. Whatever happens,
Ooh.
Jace does it. Because like in theory, I mean, a Johnny in the Lore and Eclipse storyline would have us believe that Jace is dead. I'm calling BS on that. He was casting a spell and it unraveled and he poofed. That dude's not dead at all. If anything, he has ascended to godhood and is then gonna leverage more power to enact his plans or whatever. We all know how this works. And so it's appropriate that Magic and Marvel are teaming up because they tell stories in similar ways. So yeah, there's no body, doesn't count. Even if there is a body, it was an evil twin. It's fine. Yeah. So anyway, so I believe that Jace is probably behind it, and it's possible that Nicol Bolas is also involved because he has now been freed from the meditation realm. So I'm guessing it's possible that Jace and Nikki B actually like team up in some way to enact some kind of master plan. Exactly what that is, I have no idea, to be completely honest. But I'm guessing that it will either involve the undoing of the Omen paths, as you're saying, or I wouldn't be surprised if it's a Crisis on Infinite Earths frickin' continuity reset where they undo a bunch of stuff in time and go back to some other point in Magic's history and reset the timeline because things have gotten cattywampus. I hope they don't do that, but I could see them doing that. And
I could see them doing that too. Maybe all along, Bolas secretly was able to take over Jace's mind and have Jace be a secret agent for him.
Ooh.
And his Nicol Bolas' sealing in the meditation realm and everything that has transpired has simply been his plan in order to actually reawaken his original Planeswalker spark that he attempted to do back in the first story of Future Sight from over 20 years ago.
I don't hate that. Honestly, the idea that Nicol Bolas has somehow been like tugging on strings from prison, so that idea is actually really cool. That he's been like the mob boss in captivity, getting the secret messages out and making things happen the whole time. I kind of love that idea. And getting Jace to like bumble in and free him was part of his master plan or whatever. Like I could, whether they're working together or whether Jace was a pawn of his, however, God, I don't hate that. I don't hate that. Actually, that's kind of interesting. Yeah.
I'm just like, it could be because like whenever they told us stories about Bolas before, Bolas was always described as this manipulator, this pragmatic planner. Things were always 5, 6, 7 steps ahead in his design. Liliana's contract, for example, right? Like ultimately fed to him.
Oh yeah, and him being able to like claim ownership of that was this weird convoluted thing that like was really tough to follow, and he was the only one who really understood how that worked and was able to take advantage. Yeah. So I could see that.
So maybe. Or maybe Ugin's actually the evil twin brother all along.
I've been cursing Ugin's name for a long time. So, as somebody who likes going wide with colored permanents, I have not enjoyed Ugin for some time. So, I have no problem rooting against him in the story as well. Yeah, it's been a disconnect. There are a number of maybe. There are so many characters that in the story I adore them and they're wonderful, and then I see their cards and I'm like, you son of a. That was the issue with Vivi. Vivi in Final Fantasy IX is great. I love him, and I feel that way about Teferi. Teferi is like an unambiguous hero who's just like the coolest dude, and I absolutely adore him in the story. Yeah. And then you look at Teferi Time Raveler or Teferi Hero of Dominaria, and you're just like, oh, these are the most tedious things to play against. Anyway, yeah. So it's It's interesting.
Never play those cards again.
Yep. And so, yeah, Ugin is one of those characters also. Good dude, and one of the only beings powerful enough to like consistently check Nicol Bolas, who's one of the big bads, was also instrumental in sealing away the Eldrazi for generations on Zendikar. Like, Ugin is just a good guy. But Ugin the Spirit Dragon and Ugin Eye of Storms exists, and man, screw those cards. Yeah. It's just... Anyway.
But really, what if Ugin was actually evil? What if his plan to seal the Eldrazi was just merely pushing off the inevitable when a plan was ripe enough? for them to actually merge appropriately. And the reason he wants for that is not because he's a metaphorical mortal being, but he is in fact a spirit dragon without a body. Maybe this is a way for him to regain his powers and his way of life in body.
Ooh.
Maybe this is the
you think-
ultimate merger between Eldrazi and Nicol Bolas. Maybe he is the real villain.
I don't know if any of that makes sense, but I want it to, and I'm down. I'm down.
Know either.
I love the idea that Ugin has actually just been a vengeful ghost this whole time that wants his body back. That's also I'm totally on board with that too.
He doesn't have a body. He hasn't had a body for a long time.
Yeah, dude's been a spirit this whole time. Yeah. Anyway, fun stuff.
When Sarkhan went back in time and wrapped the hedron around his body, it was to save his spirit. That's why he's the spirit dragon.
Right. Nice. All right, this is fun. So yeah, so with Reality Fracture, right now we know nothing. But yeah, I think it fundamentally changing the behavior of the multiverse is definitely going to be a thing. I think I need to go back and check out the Alara story, because I know the conflux was a thing that Nicol Bolas was all about, to that like changed the behavior of that plane in a huge way, and I'm wondering if maybe it'll be something similar there, or something akin to that.
Yeah, because the conflux originally, Alara was one plane and then separated into 5 distinct separate individual instances.
Mm-hmm.
And then the conflux is what brought them all back together in one.
Right.
But I did look up some notes just to double check on Reality Fracture. So what we do know is somehow Jace is potentially involved.
Oh, okay. Okay. So that wasn't a hot take. Good deal.
Yeah. No, you were right on that.
Okay.
We can expect something like planar chaos, where color shifted cards happen. There's a dark reflection of Strixhaven serving as the stronghold. It's called a Hex Haven. And loot is involved as the key to everything. Okay. We don't know what loot will do, but there's like some pull-in.
So
yeah.
Okay. Thank you for showing the lack of research that I did going into this. I do appreciate that. But thank you for looking that up.
I literally just looked up like what are the notes on what we know from Reality Fracture thus far, and that's like they kind of said Jace. They said loot is somehow involved, but we're not sure what. And then there's some color shifting with the Hex Haven.
Okay, I really hope that they. I don't know. Last time, Planar Chaos is one of those sets that, as a pundit of this game, I have like been rolling my eyes that exists this whole time, because the color pie like bends and breaks that exist there have made it hard to explain to people, like to explain to new players what the color pie is. And like some veteran players don't understand basics of the color pie because there are such outspoken outliers, you know? And notably, it's also not a lot of Planar Chaos nonsense. And like full on color pie breaks become commander staples, things, so
it's true,
though, interesting. Yeah. Well, because those colors shouldn't have access to those effects. And it's like, well, but they do this one time. So hopefully Reality Fracture doesn't do a bunch of that, because if so, color theory gets wonky really fast.
Really fast.
Yeah. So we'll see. When I hear color shifted, I get nervous, because I've seen that get borked in the past. But we'll see. Yeah, and the Hex Haven of evil Strixhaven, is it just going to be a bunch of like Strixhaven characters with mustaches on? Like, is it going to be the full on like
to that?
Actually, go right before the Star Trek set. That'd be kind of appropriate, right? Wasn't that the Star Trek original series where the evil versions of themselves came out with mustaches? Wasn't that the thing?
I think so. Yeah, actually, yeah. Yeah, because I was just looking up. Do we have any information on Hex Haven?
That's so funny.
It's said to be on an alternate Arcavios with a school named Hexhaven, and it's based around the allied pairs. There's a white healer Liliana, for example. That's all we know.
Okay.
Oh, see, you know what though?
If it's characters that have strong color associations being color shifted into other that I'm cool with. As long as mechanically they are true to their new color identity, I love that. I think that's actually a lot of fun. So okay,
yeah,
cool.
It was color shifted characters, but now that I think about it, that if you think of the Hexhaven tie-in, right, we only had 5 colors 5 of the allied colors in Strixhaven.
Oh, the enemy
So
colors. It was
yeah.
the enemy colors in Strixhaven. So yeah, that makes sense actually. I don't hate that.
Hexhaven's got to have the other end. So maybe we have new Elder Dragons that have flipped over.
And
maybe they're working for Ugin to help him get back his body.
And could we get like an opposite Ikoria, like Ishelia that has the shards instead of the wedges? Because it's not the chorus. Anyway,
I'd like that. Or just go back to Alara. I'd like that too.
Or just go back to yes, that would also be fine. Anyway, yeah. I want
Progenitus 2.0. Give me a 2020 protection from everything.
I want allied triomes that actually have the word triome in the name. That's what I want. Anyway, yeah. But no, so okay, that actually sounds like a lot of fun. So it'll be interesting to see what the final ramifications of that, what reality's getting fractured there. Is it just mirror dimension action? There's got to be more to it than that, though. Yeah, I'm sure there's more to it than that. Yeah. Anyway,
it'll be it's like it'll be like an episode of Dragon Ball Z. Will Jace's plan come to action? Will Ugin get back his body? Was Knuckle Bolas actually the good guy all along, fighting the good fight? Find out the next time on Magic: The Gathering.
Exactly. Anyway. All right.
Yeah, 20 episodes of Power Up, of course.
You have to do the Power Up. It's very important whenever you reference Dragon Ball Z. All right. Good stuff, man. Well, yeah. So with that, I think 2026 is going to be a good year. I'm looking forward to it. I think so. The standard format is going to be an absolute. It's going to be whitewater rapids of like metas and content to try to keep up with. So good luck to everyone trying to ride that. I'm going to be over here brawling with some of the new commanders, and that's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and dear listeners, thank you for tuning in. Astro's got anything fun coming up that you want to let the folks know about?
I'm gonna go play Magic in Texas for 8 weeks.
Heck yeah.
That's about
Good
it.
work. Heck yeah. Well, and I'm gonna be streaming a lot and playing lots of Magic per usual.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how it goes. So yeah, here we are. Hooray. So yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. We'll be back next week to talk about more action and talk Lorwyn spoilers, because as of this recording, the Lorwyn spoilers have not kicked off in earnest. And by the next recording, the whole card gallery will be out, so we'll have stuff to talk about. So yeah, looking forward to that, and we'll look forward to catching you then. So yeah, until next time, everybody, take it easy.